nobody did get the minutes except your email address is not good anymore, is it, on but you have had a chance to read it. Do I hear any changes to the minutes?
Motion to approve the February the 4th minutes with any corrections.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? The treasurer's report is next on the agenda. Did you just get that treasurer's report?
This one, the financials?
Yeah.
I think I read it in hers, maybe I missed something.
Well, the only thing I've noticed, and I've noticed it the last, you missed our last meeting, but Jean has been so kind as to give us a synopsis that I found is pretty helpful. I also noted about, I guess 2 months ago, we finally got back over 3.8 million. And at the end of January, I noticed here we're worth 3,873,663. So that's, the trust board is in the best financial position we've been in for quite some time. I guess at least 6 or 7 years, or 5 or 6 years at least.
Well, we're creeping up is the main thing.
Does anyone have any questions or discussion about the financials? Motion's been made to accept the treasurer's report for pending audit.
Thank you, I forgot that part.
a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Gene, I think you've got some information and comments about our fiscal year.
Yes, and on another note, our auditors are prepared to start our audit in a couple of weeks, so we will have 9/30/12 audited pretty soon. And that brings us into our topic tonight to talk about the fiscal year, because about this time last year, I think you all met, and the auditor had recommended that you change your fiscal year end. And his thoughts on that is if you had the same fiscal year end the tribe did, that they would be ready to audit at the same time. What he looks at right now, he said it takes, the 3 months after the tribe ends, the trust ends, and he thought he'd be able to begin his audit a little bit earlier than that. We were working on the assumption that that was what we were supposed to do, is change your fiscal year end, but I've run into a couple of things I think we need to talk about. Changing a fiscal year end in our software system that we've had here for several years is a little more complicated than what I thought, and I talked to the manufacturer, which is MIP, and they tell me that they have to go in and unclose all the years that have been closed since you started, which was back 2001. It's been a long time that you've been on this software, and then reclose them at 9/30, 2000 and whatever it is through the years. And they would charge us about between $1,650 to do that. So the other issue is you've run on a calendar year for years and years and years, and it has not seemed to be a problem before. But if you want to change, then we can proceed with hiring MIT to do that. If you don't want to change, then I'll make those arrangements this year too. So it's for your consideration on whether you want to continue with changing the fiscal year or whether you want to stop and just continue with a calendar year.
Which do you recommend? What's the earliest for you?
You have something to say?
Well, I wanted to add, if I may, I just wanted to add also, remember now your trust document says you have to present a budget to the people for an approval at the November General Council meeting. And if we move that fiscal year to October the 1st, if you're going to be doing any trust document revisions, you might want to move having the people approve that budget before you start the budget year. So that's another consideration. But I think, Gene, you came up with a recommendation, which is?
Well, the recommendation I have is I see no point in changing. That it's not to your benefit in any way that I can see other than having the same fiscal year as the tribal council. But it's been like this for years and years because they changed many years ago. But
Does it make the audit any cheaper?
no, it does not.
And our fiscal year was January the 1st to December the 31st.
That is correct. That is correct. So it would cost you about $1,650 to change. You would have some logistics that you'd have to work out on how things fall in the fiscal year. So that's where I'm coming to you and seeing what you all want to do about it. But my recommendation is I just see no point in changing. Your systems are working on a calendar year. Your investments are flowing on a calendar year. They've always taken your audit when it's finished and put it in the tribe's audit so you have an entire, but the fiscal years have always been different.
Gene, I guess I have two questions. The tribe or the tribal council it doesn't matter to us one way or another, does it, Chief?
I guess not, except what do we do about what we've already started this year? Did you start doing
That was my second question.
Well,
when
the reports you're getting started in October and they're coming through, but we could finish the year at 12/30 and pull back to the January 1st. The reports would be different next time. because they'd start in January instead of October. But I could send the reports to the auditor for the calendar year. So nothing has critically been done. Once you change that software system, though, then we're just not going to go back because it would double the expenses to go back. So the consideration of whether you want to be compatible is it's kind of going to be a serious one.
Jean, are you saying that you caught it soon enough that you haven't done the audit, so it's just, you just revert back really easily?
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
As far as that software, they sound like they're going to change all the years.
Yeah, well,
I don't like that.
Well, they had to do the same thing on the tribe when the tribe changed their fiscal year. They had to go all the way back and undo it and then reclose them at the
Crazy.
proper year. Which it really doesn't make a difference from the MIP system. It's just your reports won't be correct unless you have that closed year in the background. So,
Go ahead.
Well, from a technical standpoint, a budget is just a budget. Am I right, Jane?
that's correct. Your budget is for a year,
So,
regardless of.
I guess by going to October 1st, last year,
Well, last year, we
that
ran.
extra 3 months could make our budget look like we overspent a lot of committee budgets.
I
But
don't think
it's a
so.
budget.
No, because you had a 9-month budget. You had the, I think the accounting department took your budget for the year, and then they cut it into a 9-month budget. And then that's what you saw up until 9/30/12. So we could easily take it on back.
Well, I am right that there's not necessarily anything wrong with going over a budget. It's just you didn't make a good budget. Am I right?
I'll give you that. I'm an accountant. You don't go over budgets with me.
I know the accountant's going to ask me not
But
to.
I can let you have that one. So, if you want time to think about it, that's fine too. I talked to Verna about it one day, and she said that she really didn't want to change. So,
Go ahead.
We made a motion in the past to change our fiscal years. I think I'm going to make a motion to change it back the way it's always been, January the 1st to December the 31st, and that will be our fiscal year. And make it one motion.
Do I hear a second? Okay. John, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
thank you.
Passed unanimously. Okay. Committee reports. Economic Development, Jeff Brooks.
None. We didn't have an economic development committee meeting because we have no economic development to discuss because Delaware Enterprise Authority is taking care of all economic development concerning the tribe.
Verna Crawford is not here, but I'm on her Community Services Committee, and we did meet, of course, last month and approved. John and Homer Scott are also on the committee. We approved several.
42, 43.
Wow, that's very good.
I think we approved 37 scholarships on education, and I forgot how many of the tribal assistance things we did. It was like 10 or 12 of them.
my daughter was one of them that received a scholarship. I thank the trust board and community services for that. She's in nursing school in Oregon.
Land management, Deanne.
I have no report.
Curtis, you could probably tell everybody here what we've done on, what the cemetery.
Right, the cemetery project, as far as simply the work out there with the crew that's cutting back all of the trees and the brush and doing all of the clearing, that's still underway. There's been significant difference in the way that place looked, because it was really overgrown and trees falling down, knocked over headstones and the like. That's all that's going to happen when we get to that point where the major tree and brush clearing is done. I think we're due to come back to both the Cemetery Committee and Cultural Preservation Committee and discuss now, where do we go from here? I plan to bring somebody from who is experienced with monument and headstone, gravestone construction and repairs, and try to come up with a scope of work on what it's going to take next, and take a look at what kind of money we have to work with to get this job done. But
Which cemetery are we talking about?
this is the Leno Cemetery. It's southeast of the Copan Dam, about a mile and a half. And it's just right up above the Caney River. So there's several times over the past several decades, the river has risen up, flooded, covered over that cemetery, and between that and overgrown trees, John, you know what I'm talking about. It was terrible out there. So we're in a long-term restoration project right now, but it's coming along. I don't have a lot of photographs that I could show you at the moment, but I can put together a small report with some photographs to show the significant work that's been done so far.
Curtis, how much have you spent so far out there?
I think it's been, let's see, 24. It's been close to $4,000 now that we've been billed for. Now, some of that money we're going to be able to pay for out of our historic preservation funds that we've gotten. Some of it's going to have to come out of land management. But ultimately, by your next meeting, I should have a detailed report on not only the costs that we've been charged with so far by it's Barnes American Tree Service. I got 3 different bids on an hourly rate, and Barnes came in the lowest. Terry Barnes is also a tribal member, and he came to the Cultural Preservation Committee meeting and said, look, I'm giving you a discounted rate because I want to be a part of this restoration project. I'm a tribal member and I care about making this thing right, and so that's really where we are right now, is just the grounds clearance. I think we need some guidance and direction from a couple of different committees before we proceed with any other restoration work.
Land management, and what are the cultural preservation?
Cultural Preservation, the Historic Preservation Office, there's a number of different groups that have pools of money that I think we can bundle together to pay for this restoration. I don't know what it's going to take to restore the gravestones right now. That's something I'm going to have to bring some people to the meeting and, bring a proposal forward on how we should restore these headstones and approximately what it's going to take to get that done.
Not going to be cheap.
No, it's not going to be cheap at all. The reason we proceeded with the work, though, to cut down trees and cut back the brush and everything, is because of this time of year. We didn't want to wait until it becomes so overgrown and hot, and ticks and snakes and everything. So this was the time to get that basic work done. It's amazing the difference with the cutting that's gone on.
I have a question.
Good.
Curtis, I've got a question. What have we ever done about the 2-mile cemetery down there? You remember one time some teenagers from Dewey was out there partying and tore up a bunch of headstones and even threw some up in the river. What have we did?
The only thing that
What
was
have we
done-
done to restore that cemetery?
The only thing that was been done last year was cutting down several dead trees and trees that were kind of hanging over the cemetery. Nothing's been done with those headstones either.
So they're not back up there.
They're,
Well, they were put back and lifted back in place. And
Did we,
there was two, if I remember right, two they never found.
one of them was in the river. You could see it from the bridge. Did we ever retrieve that?
to my knowledge, no. So if we need to add that to the list, we can certainly do that.
I would ask that you go up, take a look at it.
Sure.
See what needs to be done.
Last time I was there, it was looking pretty spiffy and winterized,
you
you
did
know,
that
from
one.
this
Yeah.
fall, but
Myself
no,
and- Myself and Mickey Joe Morrison.
I'm sorry, I got too many people talking to me. I'm going to listen to the...
Myself and Mickey Joe Morrison, we was involved in that catching them kids. We actually went up there and sat all night long.
Yeah.
And they came
Yeah, I
back.
remember that.
And when they came back, I snuck through the woods and let the air out of their tires and parked my car behind them. So they couldn't get out, so they were stuck till we got the sheriff's office there.
All right. Well, we'll address the headstones there at 2 Mile also, and make sure that's done at the same time. This is going to be a long-term project, but it's the right thing to do, and I'll be presenting the proposed plan to you all before we take any steps, because I really think we need to reach out to the families whose ancestors are lying there in those cemeteries. They should have a voice too in how we restore those headstones.
Curtis,
Yes.
you did cut out some dead trees last spring, didn't you? At the tree.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's, that was, Russ Mathis did that work, and we cut down
Did you know that? Joe?
several tall trees. Right. And
I'm on the cemetery committee, and I know that needs cleaned up terribly. I saw your pictures and your video. By pulling funds from other groups, is that proper protocol, and will it impact their programs?
I don't think the Land Management Committee has enough money
Okay.
to do that. And for instance, historic preservation, I don't know, they've got tens of thousands of dollars that they use for
Okay.
several different,
Okay.
so.
I didn't know what their
think
budget was.
That is a tribal fund, and it's something that had to be approved on the tribal side. But this is one of those instances where we need to pool together
Right.
little pockets of money to cover the whole thing.
I just want to make sure we're doing it
Right.
correctly.
Yes, ma'am. And I am too, because we got to pass an audit.
Can we get back in there just any time? Because I went by there a couple of weeks ago and that gate was closed.
At 2
From- Yeah.
there's-
From the road.
I don't believe there's a
right away.
Mhm.
There's a chain.
Oh, it's just full
First,
truck? Huh?
there's just a chain going around that off post and a slip plate, that's all it is, just lift it up.
But we
But,
thought it was locked.
no, but now the right gate, you're gonna have to tie back, there's a piece of wire, 'cause it'll swing back in and dig your car,
Okay.
you know. Guaranteed.
If you do, we simply ask that you put that,
Yeah.
it looks like it's locked to keep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Keeps people from tearing up our
They
lawns.
sleep. Nature.
If I had
While
tried
we're
to
on
jump
land
that, I
management,
ended
I
up in the
just-
hospital.
Since you're the tribal business manager, Curtis, I'm going to ask you a question. We talked about this brush pile down in the middle of this pond. I don't know if you've noticed or not, but there's logs floating all over that pond now. When it comes a heavy rain, they're going to all be right down there stopping up that overflow.
I've asked our,
So why didn't we get the contractor to get that crap out of there before it filled up with water?
We didn't have a consensus.
I've asked our tribal treasurer to bring that to the council's attention this evening, so I can get some guidance as to what we're going to do. If we're going to leave that brush pile in there and turn that into a fishing pond, if we're going
That brush pile's not going to stay there. It's going to float all over the pond because it's only been down a year and still green wood.
I agree with you. And I hope we get a decision tonight. so
It's
that
going to
we
be
can
a total mess. If you're going to put a brush pile like that in the pond, you got to anchor it down with something.
Well,
Put
will
pavement,
it break
put-
down quick, won't set, and it'll sit.
I thought they left it there for
That
catfish
slime
to...
mold in your car.
So what do
You
you
want to
think,
fish down there with logs floating all over the pond?
John?
You're going to be hung up all the time.
What were you saying? I didn't hear.
Oh, about Willow?
Is that what that is
That's
Willow?
what it is.
So it
White
won't last
willow,
long
it breaks-
anyway?
No, but it breaks down and it leaves, see, that's where aspirin comes from,
Oh,
from white willow.
so we're gonna have
But
aspirin.
it does something
Just go there,
with
drink
it,
it,
but
get rid of your headache.
it's gonna start a slime mold
Oh,
in there. And once that starts, that stuff is hard to get rid of.
okay,
That
well,
pond's
that's good
gonna
to
be
know.
hella deep,
That's good to
probably
know.
8 foot.
I've been anxiously awaiting a decision from the council to determine what the disposition of this
It'll
pond
never, I don't think it'll ever go dry.
Best advice, channel cat's the best of stock.
I think we need to restock it.
I'm equally concerned, we either need to anchor down that brush pile or remove it, otherwise it's
The
going
only
to...
way you're gonna remove it now is to get somebody out there with a john boat, drag it out.
We can do that.
John's boat.
We get John's boat
It would
out
took an
there.
hour to get that dozer to doze that out of there and load the dump truck.
I agree with you.
So Chris, when do you want to meet on different committees for the cemeteries?
You know what, I think it would be best if I took, this is, I don't know his first name, but it's the guy from Wendell's Rock Shop.
Mr. Wendell?
And so we were going to take him out there and take a look at these headstones and have him come up with some guidance and direction and possibly a cost analysis of what it's going to take to restore headstones. And then if we can got some information to bring back, to call these committees together and present some information so that a decision could be made of how do we move forward.
Okay, and, all right, that's good. The second thing was, what if, could we get Bryce? Because we never had him, he never got us the ground penetrating. You know, do we still need that now?
Yes, we do. And he has been contacted. And he's, of course, we've gotten the funds now. We've got
Well, he
this,
was contacted when
right.
our last meeting. when
We've
I-
got historic preservation funds now that we could spend on
When did you talk to him? Bryce, when did you speak with him?
probably about 3 weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's current. Okay, so he has,
The funds that are in the historic preservation fund can be used to lease ground penetrating radar equipment. Now, Titus said he might be able to get us something from Cherokee Nation, but we've not had any luck yet. So if we have to go lease this equipment long enough to do the sounding on a couple of different cemeteries, particularly on the one with the Leno Cemetery, we're not only going to use that, but also use the Ruby Craner book, Talking Tombstones, and try to recreate not only where these graves are, but a lot of the headstones are so worn now that we're not sure who is there. We're going to try to do our best with some previous documentation, including that book, to determine where these people are and who they are.
and then some money that from Bryce also clean up the headstones.
Absolutely. Anything that can be used out of trust funds, historic preservation funds, fundraising out there among families and volunteers that want to do anything. I think, again, I can't come up with a firm budget of what it's going to take to restore these things. I think we just have to take a look a little bit at a time with these different phases of development on approximately what it's going to cost. I've never done anything like this before. I just know it needs to be done. And the longer we wait, another summer goes by.
That's good.
Understanding that the brush pile was set there with the thought that it could be turned into a fish habitat for a fishing pond.
Oh, I
There's been no decision firmly made and told to me that that's what's going to happen.
Oh.
I'm awaiting that decision so that we can do something about anchoring down that or pulling it out, one or the other.
Yeah. Well, one time they had a little fishing tournament out here for the kids, and it was a blast, wasn't it? They had the
Yes, it
hot
was. We took about
dogs.
200 hamburgers. and
Yes, hot dogs, hamburgers, and they fished, and
And I know whether you stock it or whether the tribe stocks it or not, people are going to be throwing
It's
fish
gonna
in
get
there.
stocked, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The pond out at ABB,
yeah.
people will go fish and bring them and just dump them in that.
That's what they were doing
And
here
that one
before we
there, so-
dried.
We're too lazy to clean them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They get them home and their wife says, nah.
That's me, there's my freezer.
Was it May Day when they had it? Yeah. There's a lot of kids there, too.
You can do a what?
Have the
No,
state.
the state, no,
Oh,
you don't want state stocking it.
No.
State stocks it, you gotta give anybody access to it that wants to
Yeah.
fish it.
Well, they're gonna get it anyway.
Yeah.
That's the way it used to be.
We should have a security officer around the pond to run everybody off.
Annette, do you have much experience with Silver Lake
That could be
Cemetery?
my job.
Do I have much experience with it?
Yeah, well, what
Well,
it is,
it
we
is.
had someone pass on, they called me,
Yeah.
gave me the name, and I gave Leslie the name, but also they wanted me to go out and go find them a place in Silver Lake. I've never done that, never been there, actually.
Oh,
And I didn't know if I didn't think it was tribal jurisdiction, or if it, anyway, I gave it over to Leslie and run like a thief and told her to call the county.
Well, I don't know, do you know if she has?
She did, I don't know what the outcome was.
It's pretty full.
Well, she told me she couldn't find this individual on the road.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So I said, well, then that takes care of the problem then, right there.
Yeah, well, that was, I think that Silver Lake was designated kind of as a place that anybody could be buried,
Because I was wanting to
and
get
it's
buried out
pretty
there.
much filled up.
Well,
I know
okay.
there were
But people
several
already have
years
safe
where,
spots. I don't think it's full.
they let people just bury anybody out there.
Maybe on
Uh,
some, but not.
Several Delawares out there.
Oh, there's
Yeah.
lots of
Yeah.
Delaware.
Yeah, lots of
It's
Delaware.
mostly Delaware, but like, I think Maryland had some people said, well, we cleaned this cemetery for years, the Moody family was their name, if they weren't Delaware, and they let them bury somebody out there. And I don't remember any of the details of it, but I know Dee was playing golf and saw somebody's over there digging in the cemetery going to bury someone, and they hadn't had permission. So they called the tribe, and it was something about that Moody family.
Well, I didn't know how to handle that. This was just yesterday, so.
You know, we did that radar deal on Silver Lake at one time. I swear we did.
I didn't remember, I remember they did it.
I know we did,
Oh,
because there was a family, Jake Scruggins' family was buried out there. Now, they're not Delaware, they're Cherokee.
and they were buried there, weren't they?
Yes.
Yes, there's several.
The way it used to work, the county, if somebody died and none of their family had come forward, they'd bury people out there, you know, at the county expense.
Right,
Oh,
that's what I
Yeah.
understood too. That was, that's what I
And-
understood.
But the tribe doesn't own it, but the county's always kind of treated it as our cemetery.
Well, and I think if we would say, if Leslie would tell the county, no, don't bury those people there, well, then they wouldn't bury them there. So that's what I think, if Leslie finds out they're not on the roll, then we just tell them no. And that should be our position, I think, John, really.
Okay, I agree with that. I was just wondering if if they are tribal members.
Unless they have,
Like I said, I have never been there. I never have.
and then I agree with you,
And I wouldn't
unless
know.
they've already got like a
Some
family
family.
plot in there,
Yes, this is
like
on a...
the Scruggins, they had like 6 people buried there, and there was an open spot in between some of them, so.
It's kind of like, who, you have to, it's every case by itself individually decided. But if they're not on our roll, we say no to start with, and then if they come back with an argument,
Why do
well,
we
my
have a
loved
cemetery
ones are
committee?
here, all I want to do is stick their ashes in one of the graves.
I don't know why we
One of the
have a
issues one time. There's been several different, all kinds of different nuances of why or not they should be buried. And if they don't argue, if we say no, then we go on, because the county is kind of afraid of the tribe for fear, now, I don't mean afraid, scared to death of us, but they kind of don't want to, they don't want to step on the feet of some of these cultural things that deal around death. I think they're very
No, I don't think the county's buried anybody out there 25,
Can I
40
think they would,
years.
And they, well, no, the county won't, but the county, if they go in, they call the county will first thing say, call the tribe.
Mhm.
And then
I will also add, though, that the county is doing the maintenance on it. They send their crew out there
Yeah.
to do the mowing and that.
Actually, Hillcrest Country Club, when Brookshire was a greenskeeper, they was taking care of it.
Yeah, he was taking care of it.
Cracks after that.
So now the county's doing it?
We found these cracks. They actually had a greenskeeper in between the one they have now and Brookshire. And I think that second guy, after Brookshire, the guy knew what to do, but that he was supposed to be cleaning it. But then the next guy that came along, he wasn't doing it.
That's not ours.
May I ask a question?
I said, Dee needs to go back and talk to him, tell him how.
I'm on the cemetery committee. Why are we making these decisions right here and not
Well,
the
I'm
cemetery
asking
committee?
this right here for my, I think, because like I say, I have never been to the cemetery.
Okay.
I don't know who
He's
family.
on the end.
you know,
They're
go
take
square
turns.
and whatnot like I know the
Bring
rest
it up
of
at
them.
their meeting.
And when I was asked to go find them a place, I was totally uncomfortable with that.
I don't even
You
know
know,
if there's
and-
very many places
You gotta
that,
make them set the
It's pretty
time.
full.
it's pretty full.
Well, we need to tell that.
But, they have room for cremation, so I think we set aside a place for cremation,
Right.
a little corner over there. So last I heard, I don't have a dog anymore, so I don't walk anymore over there.
Oh, I'm just in the mood to tell them to go ahead and take your relatives and go find them a spot. Because I do not know that place at all.
Ask them if they've already got a family plot out there.
Well,
See,
that's
Leslie's
always-
supposed to
that's
find all that
Leslie's,
out ahead of
yeah.
time.
Yeah. I know.
Well, we've got family buried out there, and when my mom was passing away, or we was looking at spots out there, and Marilyn told me that there was 2 or 3 spots left out there, and there was no other empty lots at Silver Lake. So that's why we ended up burying her out, my mom out at, was it 2 Mile or 3 Mile or whatever it is. So what Marilyn had told me, that all the plots were pretty much full out at Silver Lake.
Spoken for.
Or spoken for. Because that's where I was going to put my mom, because we got family out there, but and that's where she wanted to go first. That was her first choice. But Marilyn said that was full.
If there were 2 or 3, you only needed one of them.
Well, they were spoken for.
Oh.
And that was back in '05?
Well, I was just stumped. I didn't know what to tell them.
I don't remember who did it, but somebody did it for free. Didn't even charge
For
it.
free. Open the grave. Oh, I thought it was to
Does reinvestment?
check the ground. That
Have-
was
Yeah. As we mentioned last time, about trying to find out the status of our funds, the account and whatnot, and we'd all, like in our last meeting at the workshop, brought up another one that I brought up to you, Michael McBride, financial attorney and stuff, and want to know what you think, because we do need to get this going if we want to find one. There ain't no 10,000 here.
I called Mr. McBride last Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and he simply informed me that it would take a $1,000 retainer for him to look at our situation.
I think, does he charge like $400 an hour? Yeah, he's pretty high, John.
You ought to see the other one. I looked at it and almost fell over. He wanted a $10,000 retainer, and we didn't even bother crediting it.
But the retainer, if it's $400, it's not gonna be very long if you work.
Yeah, well, you know,
$1,000 to cover 2.5 hours.
well, a financial attorney's gonna be more than a criminal attorney, that's a fact. You know, but I'm not knowledgeable in the price ranges of that degree. But that was one that was brought up, you ought to hear.
I personally think at this point, right now, I think it's premature. I think we need to hire an attorney right now.
For reinvestment.
We need to bring it up to date.
For the whole trust fund, to see if it's secure in our best bank.
The papers we're working under was signed when you were chief, Joe. We're way out of date, way out of date on this account. But anyway, I brought him up, and there it is.
I'm not so sure the reinvestment money, I'm not so sure we couldn't do better with it somewhere else than our best.
Well, right now, me, myself, I'm satisfied where they're at, actually. I mean, they're safe, they're sound investments. You know, what we're needing is to see what kind of status that investment is in. What we need to do to bring our paperwork up to date with current members and modernize it, basically. Not change nothing, modernize it. That's what we're needing to do. I agree with that.
Well, as far as the estimate,
Should be governing your committee. They never meet.
by modernizing, I mean, get current members of the trust board on.
What he says,
Past.
yeah, he says that we need to set up how to do it. Good. I'll be the first to admit that part's way above me.
Do I hear further discussion?
Do I hear it?
Could we have Miss Jean go down there and take a look at it?
And what?
The CFO, Jean Lewis, she's gone, but.
I talked to her about it, Annette, and she told me just flat out she's not qualified to determine whether it's safe at our best or not.
Oh, I see,
Said that it's going to take a tax attorney.
I see.
She said, I'm a CPA, I can't give you the answer to that, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, that's right.
I did ask her that question. My brother was there also when I asked her. Said she didn't want to give any opinion on it because she didn't know for sure.
Yeah, we're mutually exclusive.
And the bank don't want to give any opinion on it. And you know the bank's got an attorney.
Right.
They think they're good.
Well, it seems to me like the opinion of the attorney want to give is they want to make money. Which,
Brand new carpet.
Oh, my
They all want to make money.
God. Cancel people?
Oh, my static.
Yeah.
Oh, when did he say?
No, it was making that party.
No, won't allow water only.
Somehow you bring in something.
I put one in like what?
I asked our account manager to find out what do we need to do, how are we protected, what status. He said, I am your accountant. Those are questions I can and won't answer you. You need a tax attorney. That's when I first brought it up before the trust board.
Way back, okay, when did somebody look at it and see if they like where we were at, what year?
Well, we had that one discussion when we brought it all out, when was that, not too long after general counsel. That was first brought up. Where we had to look at. That's how we found out how obsolete we were and the paperwork we were under. Yeah, Raymond Klein was trust board chairman and Joe Brooks was chief.
I can't take you kids anywhere.
But this is just one of two. The first one, I didn't like it, but I was obligated to bring it and let you all look at it live too. That's the one that wanted $10,000 return. And this one here, once I found out, I turned it over to Chet.
That's it.
He did the call.
I know he wants $1,000 retainer, but I'd like to know what his rate is per hour and how many hours he estimates it's going to take him to give us an answer on these monies.
That'd be a good question.
I don't want to hire him, but just open it because lawyers are going to drag it out as long as they can to give you an opinion. I want a maximum number of hours and how much he's charging per hour.
well, how many hours an attorney spends on something depends on what you're having him do.
Well, all we want is an answer if our trust monies are safe. If we should the tribe should get sued, are our trust monies safe? Where they're at.
That and what it takes to bring us up to date. That's the main thing.
And are they guarded?
Don't need to send some preposition.
I think those are
Makes
two reasonable
recommendations.
questions for an attorney, and I think it's well worth $1,000 to do it.
Yeah, but if they can't answer them questions in 4 or 5 hours,
No, I agree.
I don't want to hire them.
I don't think it will. Honestly, that's why you hire experts, but I understand what you're saying.
What is our
Basically, if we charge us as much as the chief said he did, $400 an hour, I don't want to just give him a $1,000 retainer and leave it an open-ended contract. He'd like to run the bill up to $50,000.
They don't want to do that.
As your tribal manager, I'm not an attorney, but I will tell you this. I don't think you have to worry about your trust fund with any lawsuit that's going on with this DDA business. You don't have to worry about that. They're not going to be able to get this trust fund.
Why?
It's a different fund that belongs to the tribal membership that has been approved by a vote of the people. And it is not under the control of the tribal council. It's under the control of the trust board. So it is a different fund, and they're not the assets that this company, River Trails, can get to. Now, that is my own professional
I kind of agree
opinion.
with you, Curtis, but I don't want to risk losing $3.9 billion if we can get a legal opinion on it for $1,500.
And of course, you
Well,
should
that's kind of moving forward, because that was brought up after that I found out how antiquated we are, and I brought it out, how bad we are way back.
I don't think
I'm not worried about it from a lawsuit or any lawsuit, but we still need a legal opinion on what we need to do to modernize these documents.
Sure.
To get us straight. That's where my issue is on this.
Where we stand.
Stan?
Yeah, where we stand.
Yeah.
Good thing.
If we can do anything to modernize it and help us out, maybe he knows how to strike a new deal with our veterans. Get us a better rate or something. I don't know. That's only something a lawyer can ask. So. I don't care which one, we just need one.
Well, maybe you could ask them yourself about a better rate.
Yeah, that might be good.
I mean,
I'm not that financial savvy to try to parlay something like that on that big amount of money.
I'll solve it.
That's true. I always ask, they can only say you get off the front porch.
Since we're talking about our money, I'm going to make a motion that our chairman, Jeff Brooks, be directed to call this lawyer and find out how much he charges per hour and the maximum number of hours he thinks it will take to let us know if our monies are safe. Period.
I have a question. A question before you make a second. Is that, we have two issues going on. We have one that we want to make sure we're safe legally, that somebody can't sue us and get the trust funds. And secondly, if we have the best vehicle to make money.
No, we're not trying to make money.
Well,
We're
trying to find out
we're
if
trying to
it's
find out where we need to do to modernize our paperwork governing our money. Okay?
that's two. But three.
No,
would
just
be-
one, and the other one is, this is going to be a package bundle. No, he ain't going to stick us with 3 separate issues. Oh, no.
Well, no, but I mean,
Yeah.
we are concerned for three different things.
Oh, basically.
What I'm hearing.
Yeah. Okay,
One
yeah.
is the safe, you can't be sued and they can't touch it. We want,
I don't think you can anyway, but, that would be nice to know,
You know that? Okay.
I
thought we were.
And the other pertinent questions pertaining to our money, it just don't have to be one or two. Main thing is have a check first off, see if this guy's compatible with it, and if he's willing to work with it.
Well, yeah.
John, since you're the chairman of reinvestment, I'm going to include you in that motion. You and my brother.
Well, I
To
can
work
argue.
with this lawyer.
Okay. Maybe we can set up a meeting, just a conference call.
Try to
or
meet him a
something.
little bit.
Well, he's already said that
You didn't want to talk unless you give you
he
$1,000.
didn't foresee that reviewing our trust documents, trust master plan, constitution, would probably not entail any more work than $1,000 retainer. And he didn't actually said it,
But what I wanna know is-
if you do get sued, you're looking at a lot
maximum number of hours on it and how much he charges per hour. Because I'll guarantee you if he charges $400 an hour, he's not going to read all of them documents in 2.5 hours.
That's what I'm
Then
saying.
he's going to hand you a bill for about $10,000. So I'm leaving my motion as it was. I want to
Now,
find
yeah,
out how
well-
much per hour.
Clarify hourly rate and projected hours per project.
Projected hours in to work with the lawyers and not just the one we're working with, but also call this other law firm. Get an hourly rate, how much they charge per hour, and how many hours maximum they estimate that it will take to review all these documents, including the trust document, the Constitution, and the contracts with Our Best Bank, or agreements with Our Best Bank, to make sure our monies are safe,
They're
period.
probably opening up a real can of worms because those tax attorneys will say the first thing, well, this document's obsolete. It doesn't apply in that place anywhere. It doesn't even line up with it's not even mentioned in the Constitution. And then they just bring it back to us and say, I'm sorry, but we don't have anything, like John said, it's out of date. And that's probably, we know that already without asking anybody.
Yeah, and just.
Then why don't we fix
Tell
it?
them we're out of date, we need to fix this way and bring it up.
Should have already been done.
Just throw every question I can think about it up in his face, to each one of them, because it's what we got to have done to fix it and bring it up to date.
Oh, it sounds in your face.
But anyway,
Is it?
it's in the running. Tribal operations is next to last one.
No committee meeting because our tribal operations money is used primarily to take care of the audit for the tribe and the trust board.
Culture
Discussed.
culture preservation, which I skipped over. We had our meeting last month as always on the third Tuesday of every month. And would like to announce that there's going to be a stomp dance in Chelsea on March the 23rd. That's a Saturday. I believe it's starting at
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock. And I think, well, Bruce has left, but I believe that he's coordinating maybe
The Boys and Girls
taking
Club.
a van over there, so, or
Yeah,
every raffle.
Be open van if anybody wants to go from here that can't drive, don't want to drive, whatever, be loading up here. How many passengers at 15?
15.
15?
In each van?
Well, in one van, I know that.
Because Bruce said at lunch today, he was going to make sure and get it checked out and then get a sign-up sheet for it.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to add to that. A friend of mine owns this little newspaper that's put out in like 5 or 6 counties, the links. His name is Pat Fitzgerald. I give him one of the flyers for the stomp dance. Next thing I know, it's here in his newspaper, upcoming events. Saturday, March 23rd at the Boys and Girls Club, 119 Ash Street, Chelsea, Oklahoma. Starts at 6 p.m. Concessions by Chelsea Boys and Girls Club. Contact Bruce Martin at the phone number of the tribe, sponsored by the Delaware Cultural Preservation Committee.
Wow.
Very good.
So, as my brother, as chairman of the Delaware Cultural Preservation Committee, I think we ought to call Pat Fitzgerald and thank him for putting it in his weekly newspaper. It's going to be in there from now till we have the stomp dance, he told me. Just free of charge.
Could I have that? So
Absolutely. I got the phone number here. I'm going to give you to call him.
Okay.
That's why I brought it. He's a really nice guy. He's about 75 years old.
Maybe they could put some of those in the stand out here like the.
Is there a way we can get
I've got the flyers all over Chelsea. I've got one at Jiffy Mart. I've got one at
The
Harv's
newspaper.
Grocery Store.
As a newspaper, maybe there'd be tribal members
Oh,
here
yeah.
that would benefit from his
he just put community activities in here, and this paper goes everywhere. Here's the different towns: Adair, Afton, Bartlesville, Bernice, Big Cabin, Blue Jacket, Chelsea, Choteau, Claremore, Fairland, Foyle, Grove, Jay, Kansas, Oklahoma, Ketchum, Langley, Locust Grove, Miami, Nowata, Oologah, Pryor, Salina, Spavinaw, Bonita, Welch, White Oak, and Winnon.
So is it a freebie or?
It's a freebie unless you want to receive it in the mail. If you want to receive it in the mail, it's $4 a month. And I'm pretty sure he does 4 issues a month.
Well, if we call him, then at least we know it'll be in there.
Oh, it's already promised me. He's going to run it in there every week till after it stops.
Yeah.
Just free gratis. Free advertising.
Does he print that in Chelsea?
It's in this newspaper that gets distributed to all them.
No, I said, does he print it in Chelsea? Is he from Chelsea, the man?
He's from Chelsea, but no, he doesn't have anything to do with the Chelsea Reporter.
Oh, he does not.
He owns his own little private
But
newspaper.
it's out of Chelsea. so-
The only people he hires is handicapped people
Oh, okay.
that's mentally disabled, and they do all the distributing, the printing, and everything in this paper.
Does he charge for community service notes? Like I take care of the advertising on the Bartlesville Indian Women's Club, and I'd like to get his name and address so I can
I'll
send
give
it
it to
in
you.
next year.
Where do you get a copy in Bartlesville?
Just a minute, I'll tell you. Bartlesville Public Library, Daylight Donuts, Denial Salon, or Homeland. Four locations.
What's the loan?
There's 5 locations.
D-E-N-I, Denial.
Danelle.
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 Spelled denial.
Denial to me.
D-E-N-I-A-L.
He'll deny it and.
That's right, they'll deny it.
I don't even know where that
I
is.
don't either.
Unfinished business. Does anybody have unfinished business? New business. We're going to do about cash. Make it official. Can you go where everybody hears information, Cass Smith resigned.
What is
Now,
it?
he does 3 weeks ago, right
What do you think?
before,
Man,
the same day, it's a special meeting we
this
had.
is penis.
That leaves an empty trust board seat that needs to be filled. There's one tribal member that has sent me a letter requesting that she be allowed to fill any open trust board seat, and that's Nikki Michael. It's the pleasure of this board. I guess whether or not we want to do that tonight or a month from tonight.
Well, if people didn't know there was an opening,
Need to advertise.
You know, Delaware Indian News coming out April 1st, so, but that's still, again, that's still another month before it can go.
right.
By the trust document,
You
you
could-
can't wait that long.
But-
Since he gave his resignation letter 4 or 5 days after the last regularly scheduled meeting of the trust board, I actually think it'd be fair if we put it off for another month and let everybody know, put up a
Get it on the
flyer.
website.
Website.
We can do the website and the Facebook page. as
Yeah,
well.
yeah.
To let everybody know there's an opening.
I don't think we need to,
That's up to you guys, what you got.
Well, you're right, because it was after the meeting.
Yeah, he resigned like 4 days after our last scheduled regular meeting. And the way the trust document reads, it says if somebody resigns, that seat will be filled at the next regular scheduled meeting. Well, formally, we couldn't accept his resignation till the night, because that was a special meeting of the trust board.
Okay.
But really, I don't think you have to accept his resignation. It's in writing. So, that's up to the wishes of the
Well,
other
they made it
members.
formal.
I think it'd only be fair to other tribal members to give them another 4 weeks.
Well, I move that we take Cassius Smith's resignation, accept it, announce open chair for 1 month to be filled at the next regular scheduled meeting.
I'll second that motion. Let's have any discussion.
What's the date of the next meeting?
April 1st.
Okay, I'm being
Oh,
honored
that's
with
great.
an Tulsa, with Native Americans in philanthropy.
Is that the first Monday, April?
Yes, sir.
All in favor of the motion?
Aye.
Opposed? Well, since we can't get a vote, that everybody doesn't agree to, do I hear further business?
Just announce the deadline for the Delaware Indian News, March 15th. Want to put an article in there.
Our secretary, Verna Crawford, she was actually sick today. When she called, she did tell me on the phone that she is about halfway through making the changes that we talked about in our special meeting. And she suggested that perhaps we could have another special meeting in a couple of weeks and try to come, do a closer to a consensus on what we want to do.
Or another hash out.
Could everybody here, I don't imagine Deanne can, but could all the rest of us make a day?
I can.
It's got to be Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday for you, doesn't it? And Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday's all right for you and John, isn't it?
Yeah.
As long as I don't have a VA appointment. Which I can follow up on myself on there a little bit, tell you when I've got VA appointment.
That's my last one tomorrow.
Well, that way we can get an article, I think, in the April edition of the Delaware Indian News that at least
They're working on revising
Tells
and updating our trust document.
we're trying to revise it and that it will be voted on this year.
Chip,
Yes.
so am I hearing this right? What we want to do is, we want to inform the tribal membership in the April issue. In the July issue, put people on notice that, and you should be prepared at a certain point to put people on notice that they're going to have to vote to approve upcoming changes in either the master plan or the trust document. And you might be able to provide some of that information in the July issue, but you're targeting the November election as a time when you would ask the people to approve that.
Or disapprove.
Well, whatever, however it turns out. But I mean, if we're on that calendar, I'll be prepared with the Delaware Indian News to make space for those. And that's pretty important messaging that's coming up, so we'll want to highlight that.
Well, I would hope that we could have the change of document
Hopefully.
by the July paper, actually.
There would be no need to actually wait all the way till November if you could get it done sooner than that.
Get them to vote on it as early as you, but
Yeah, that cost extra money.
Give them time to know what they're gonna be voting on.
Well, we can always double up on the meetings if we need to.
Workshop.
Yeah, about 2 or 3 workshops, one every other week.
Because what I understand is that in addition to that, you were proposing to the people of extending your term for a year to get the election calendar, a uniform election calendar, so that we are not paying money every year for an election. That we could have any of the tribal council and trust board elections and approval of the budget, any other issues could be done on the same election day. And therefore, if we go to that, we would be conducting an election every 2 years. Would really help out the entire tribal budget if we did that. So whenever you all decide you want to do that, to be honest with you, we don't have to wait till November to do this.
We're working on it, trying to get it worked into in a first workshop.
Yeah.
You know, like I say, if we need to double up, we need to do that.
We've all already agreed on the percentages.
Yeah.
We can discuss documents, so,
Yeah, reword it. Well, I'm thinking it should. That's all I have. Yeah, we're gonna set a date for our next workshop. Or you gonna let Bernie do that?
Well, Monday's work is as good as any day.
Good for me.
How about 1 o'clock, 2 weeks from today?
what date?
That'd be
18.
18.
Yeah, that'll be on the 17th, that'd work.
On the 18th. The 17th would be on Sunday, but
What time do you have the mornings or afternoons?
Yeah, it might be good if we had a time. 1 o'clock seems, well, yeah, fine with me.
So is the date set for 6 PM on March 18th?
Tentatively.
That's going to be on there too.
do I hear further new business?
I just have a statement to make after you get done addressing your business before you adjourn, that's all.
Good shape, brother. That date be fine.
Okay,
I've been able to witness it well.
special meeting, 1 o'clock on the Monday, the 18th of March, to hopefully to get as far along as we can.
In this room, same place. This where we
Right.
start having all of our meetings.
Well, that's what I meant to address, if I could.
Okay, go ahead.
First of all, I wanted to state the obvious. Here you are in the new building. We've opened up the new building here in the last month. And obviously, we should all be real proud of this building. And now we're accommodating a lot of the growth. I just wanted to say real quickly, housing, Indian child welfare, environmental program, the library and archives are all located in this building. this conference room, I predict, is going to be one of the most valuable meeting spaces on this entire tribal campus. You saw how we were using that conference room a lot in my office, but, by the way, this half of the table used to be in my office. This half of the table used to be up in Caney. We built this conference room knowing that we were going to put these two together. If you, I remember, this was the big conference table over there on Virginia Avenue.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we want to do is we want to turn this into a working space on a daily basis. I am proposing, and I've been talking with Bruce, all of the committee meetings can start scheduling their time in here. And whenever any of us need to bring in people for conferencing, meetings, and the like, we can use this, but we're going to have to manage it. We're going to have to schedule, reserve time, and I'm going to have staff in charge of managing that. So we always have this space available. However, the tribal council meeting and the trust board meetings, unless you all choose to do something different, we're still prepared after the kitchen expansion is done in another month to be able to offer that much larger space, that stage that we had built and the kind of the table in the half round and all of that. That's still available for your big major meetings if you want to have that. But again, for committees and other impromptu meetings, that's what this space is available for. And so I'll be working more on the procedures for booking this room, but that's what it's for. So if you want to have a workshop to work on your trust board, trust document, and all that kind of stuff, by all means, feel free to schedule it in here and do that. The only reason we put this meeting in here today is we're jackhammering and tearing that place up. I can't even work over there. But I can tell the way the sun is and everything, we're going to have to do something a little bit different with the window cover.
That's what they call mini blinds.
But yeah, we'll certainly get there. But I just wanted to just welcome you all to this building, and I hope there's many more committee meetings and the like that occur in this space. That's what it was built for, and I hope it's a much better space to work with.
Thank you, President. Nice, I like it.
If there's no further business, somebody entertain, or I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor? Aye. Aye.